Are you a hard case? Are you a self-diagnosed hard case? Do you think that you are really struggling? You've been in the community for a very long time. You haven't got the results that you would like to see, or you haven't got any results over a long period of time. Are you a hard case? I honestly don't believe that anybody is that hard of a hard case. I truly, honestly don't believe that anyone out there is beyond help, but they have to be committed to changing. So here's my tips on how you can somewhat overcome or improve your results as a hard case. But before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel dating advice for the modern man. Top link in the description to get some coaching with me. I also do Skype coaching or just online coaching anywhere in the world if you are not in the vicinity or region of the world that I'm in. So, are you a hard case? How hard of a case are you? If you're watching this, there's a good chance that you are looking for some sort of magic. If you are actually a hard case, and from my experience of hard cases that I have met, you're probably looking for a simplistic band-aid approach when your leg has been cut off. You're like, where's the band-aid? The leg's been cut off, let's put a band-aid on it and we're going to fix this. You're looking for something short-term, a quick fix, and I would argue that if you are a hard case and you are a self-diagnosed hard case enough to be watching this video, we need a lot more time. You need to dedicate a lot more time, and you need to be putting in a lot more effort than you probably would imagine. And then that comes back to, how much do you want it? How much do you want to improve yourself? Are you willing to listen to criticism? Are you constructive criticism, of course? Are you willing to put in the time and effort to, over the course of say 6 to 12 months, to get the results or increase the results that you've got? Now, from the hard cases that I have seen, they're busy. Most of the time it is, I'm working 5 days a week, I've got a business on there, I got all these other things going on, and they're looking for something too short term. They're looking for a quick little weekend boot camp, and they think that that's going to improve them. They're looking for, what is your magical opener? That's a classic one. What's your magical opener that just, you say this magical pickup line and all the girls' panties drop? I hate to tell you, it just does not exist. Game's far more in depth than that and far more complex than that. If you are one of those hard cases and you're looking for a quick fix, it just doesn't exist. It really does not exist. And the second part of that is that it's not just a short-term thing and there's no easy fix. The second part is, I would argue that the pickup community is doing you more harm than good. I would argue that the pickup community isn't necessarily helping you. You've probably been in the pickup community for a very long time, and I would argue that what you think you need by learning the new pickup techniques is not what you need at all. What you need is a more wholesome, a more entire analysis of who you are, where you're at, and where you should be going. And that would mean you need to leave the pickup community. That would mean that you would need to do something else other than pickup to get to the point where you will be able to pick up girls. And that might sound counterintuitive, but let me try to explain. A lot of the hard cases that I have seen, they're just focused on the infields. They're experts on infields. They know how every coach in the world opens. They know how they run their game from hello through to number close. They know it back to front, and they can recite it to you. And if you meet up with a hard case, they have no problem critiquing all of the pickup coaches in the world. They know all the pickup coaches. They know who's good. They know who's bad. They know the best and they know the worst. But I would argue that they don't know anything, and all of what they think they know is built on faulty advice from decades of bad pickup advice, just through pseudo-y, science-y personal experience. And there's a faulty foundation of pickup advice, dating advice, and the next generation of pickup coaches have, on top of that, built another layer of faulty advice on top of layer of faulty advice. Now, some hard cases, I've noticed they have small little problems with, say, hygiene and fashion. So their teeth are all messed up, as in they're not brushing their teeth, they're not looking after their, look at me, I'm 40, they're not bad. You know, I did some teeth whitening. I see the dentist every 6 months. If there's any fillings, I do it. I don't have black marks in my teeth. It just makes me look dirty, and girls don't want to kiss a guy that has black marks in his teeth. Don't get me wrong, some of you guys might meet girls that will kiss you if you have plaque all over your teeth. Hygiene is a big issue. Some of the hard cases that I have seen have had either crust on their skin, like their skin care is really subpar. And when you were to have a close look at them and say, hey, maybe you should get a nice jacket, maybe you should get a nice haircut, maybe you should focus on your skincare, instead of seeing that as constructive, objective help for them, they will see that as, no, I know what I'm doing. I just need to focus on my lines, my canned lines. I've got the new product, and that's going to solve all my problems. But that, you know, that massive pimple here that they need to see or they have something on their face where they need to see a dermatologist about, they're not willing to spend money on going to do that. They're more likely to spend money on the new pickup book or sample the new pickup strategy. And that is not going to help you, when seeing the dermatologist about the spots on your face would definitely improve you as a man. Now, fashion-wise, you know, is your shirt creased at the bottom? Are they tailored long pants, or are they baggy? They come, you know, do you look at least somewhat presentable? And I would argue that a lot of the hard cases out there, they wear clothing that makes them look terrible, or just not the type of man that a woman would want to be with, not an attractive woman anyway. And so a lot of it is a lot of surface level stuff, just simple things that are obvious. And a hard case has this idea that the new pickup book, the new pickup digital product, the new hack for Tinder product, doing a short-term boot camp. But when they go on the boot camp, their coach tells them, look, your fashion, you got to do this. You got to hit the gym a little bit more. And they say, no. I just need to know your canned lines. That's how it works. They're so down the rabbit hole of pickup solves everything that they don't realize that pickup also is meshed in with you looking after yourself. You know, if I just look terrible, I just let my hair go out, I don't moisturize at my age. If I don't, I'm going to dye my hair again because there's a few grays. If I don't look after these things, my results suffer, right? I can have the same game, but if I turn up homeless and I smell and, you know, my teeth are all black because I just ate and I didn't brush my teeth, girls notice these things, these small little things, and these are the small little things that a lot of the hard cases just pass off as not important. And from my experience, hard cases know everything. So that is the lesson too, is that a hard case thinks that they know everything, yet they don't have any results to back it up. So that's one of the most common things that I've noticed, actually, is that a hard case thinks that they know everything. They're a know-it-all. They don't listen to anybody, and if they do listen to anybody, then they walk away and go, what does that guy know? They pretend to listen, and then they don't actually implement anything that anyone tells them, and that's why they're still a hard case. And I'm coming from the point of view that a hard case is someone who can overcome these things by diverting time to it. Another aspect is body shape. Some of them, and maybe you guys yourself that are watching this, maybe you have been struggling with your weight. Maybe you're a little bit too overweight, and maybe you should be diverting a few less hours in the pickup community, maybe one less hour per day, depending on how much game you're actually doing, to losing weight. And if you are too skinny, you should be diverting some more time to hitting the gym. Now, one thing that I get a little bit confused with is a lot of the hard cases, and that's probably you right now, they say that they're very busy. They're studying hard. They're often doing something quite good. They've got a business going. They've got a good career. They're studying something that is really interesting, and they're usually relatively intelligent. And you find out that they're doing a lot of game. So they meet up with a wing, several times a week. They're doing a lot of game. They're recording their sets, etc. But when you ask them, okay, so you're too skinny, maybe you should hit the gym a little bit more and divert maybe 1 or 2 of those day game sessions, and then only revert it back to maybe 1 day game or night game session per week. And the other 2 sessions for the next 6 months should be spent on bulking up a little bit more time in the gym. It would also help with your mood. And if you're a little bit too overweight, hitting the gym and trying to lose weight, doing a lot more cardio, swimming, trying to look at your diet and what you're eating. And so you either need to be losing weight or you need to be bulking up. This is also one of the many issues that I see with a lot of the hard cases out there, is that they're either too skinny or they're either too overweight. Now, if you are extremely overweight, now you can be high energy, you can be a great guy, but your rejection rate for the type of girls that you want to date is going to be a lot higher because you're overweight. There's a threshold of attractiveness and you're underneath it. You just need to be at that threshold of attractiveness and within an age range that is acceptable, and a fashion range within a certain threshold. And then what you need is some good game, and boom, you're right in that sweet spot, and then all the success starts to come through. But if you are too skinny or too overweight, and you think that, okay, well, I'm going to get the ting to hack, I'm going to continue to game just as much as I do during the week, and eventually it's all going to work out, when really you need to lose 5-10 kilos, or you need to put on 5-10 kilos of muscle to bulk up, then per approach, your success rate with some proper game would increase exponentially. And think about it. So where are you right now? Are you struggling? And if someone was to give you the hard truth and say, look, you need to spend 6 to 12 months in the gym and decrease your time in game by, say, 60%, and divert 60% of that game time to the gym, or a certain percentage to your hygiene and your fashion and other aspects of you, at the end of say 6 to 12 months, then you can increase the amount of game you're doing because you've just sorted out the fact that you're overweight or too skinny, and you've bulked up and you're focused on it. So where you spend your focus and your time is where you will get the most results, which is kind of common sense, but common sense is not that common actually. So you got to think about who is your future self and where do you want to be in 6 to 12 months. Now, I take game very seriously, so I think to myself, I've had 2 hip replacements. I've had 3 major surgeries where I've been knocked on the ground hardcore. I've had my legs literally cut off, the bone removed from my pelvis. I couldn't walk for upwards of several months properly, like I had crutches, etc. And that made me put on weight. The surgeries were so major that if I was to sit in a bath, the water would go through the wound because it was so big. And I put on a lot of weight, so I understand what it's like to put on a lot of weight, but mine was not self-inflicted. It was that I couldn't move. I was bedridden, or I just couldn't really walk. I couldn't do any exercise, right? So I understand the importance of losing a bit of weight and doing a bit more fitness. And each of those operations, I would then spend a lot of time doing a lot of swimming, a lot of time in the gym, and get my body in shape again, and then I'll be out there gaming. Now, that's just the cold hard truth, and that's the reality of the world. Now, these are 2 things that I think that are very important. With a lot of the hard cases, and you may well be one of them, there is another issue that there is a downward spiral of results. So it's like you're seemingly taking action, but you're not really taking the right action. And when people give you advice, you don't really take the right advice. You think that, okay, well, I just need to keep going out there and approaching. I need to just record my sets. I need to increase the amount of times or times that I meet up with a wing, or my proximity to the city. I need to go to higher flow areas with more girls and pump out more approaches per session. When I would argue that you need to spend less time out there and more time fixing the other aspects of you. So take 100% of your game time and go, okay, well, do I need to fix this? Take parts out of it. And for, say, a 6-month period, focus on making sure that you're ready to play, ready to go game. Game is, in my opinion, something that it's kind of like you're getting in the boxing ring. You can have the best boxer up here in the world. He knows all the theory, but he's never spent any time in the gym hitting a bag. He knows exactly, he can tell you exactly all the muscles that move when he throws the right hook, but you put him in the ring with the heavyweight champion, and he just gets knocked out in the first round, right? He gets knocked out in the first second because he doesn't have the body to do the boxing, right? And so you really need to be thinking about that. Your body needs to be on point, or at least within a certain threshold. There are a lot of guys that looks max and they go over that threshold, and then they spend little to no time gaming. I would say that you get yourself within that threshold, and then you focus on game, and then the results will come. The results will come a lot more than you think. Or you can just, over the course of the next year, not improve your body, your fashion, etc., and just keep suffering from the same old, because the same old results will continue to plague you for as long as it takes for you to actually spend the time to improve yourself. And that also sends you into the spiral, the downward spiral of anger, and I would argue depression, and blaming other people for your results, and becoming an expert in theory and critiquing coaches out there and things like that. I would argue that a lot of the guys out there that are getting results, they never talk about coaches, they never talk about strategies or theories. They've got their life in order, they're getting results, and they just need to take the right action. They've put it all into practice. And if you are still in the community after, say, 6 to 12, I would say 12 months, 12 months, most of the guys that I have seen over the years, they get into the community and they get in there hardcore. They take it very serious for 6 to 12 months. If their body isn't already on point and their fashion isn't already on point, they spend a lot of time in the gym, and then what they do is they game. So they game and gym. They literally quit their jobs for 6 months or 12 months, and at the end of it, they've got that part of their life sorted, and you never see them in the pickup communities again because they're out there getting the real results, right? And that's the ultimate goal for you guys. So hopefully that's been helpful. And I want you guys to know that I don't think that anyone is a hard case that cannot be fixed. The real fixing, and I think the beginning of the fixing, isn't acknowledging that you're a hard case, because a lot of guys out there admit that they're hard cases. That's the easy part. The hard part is when someone who actually knows what they're talking about gives you good advice. And you just go, no, I've got that sorted. And you just pass it off as if you know what you're talking about. But the problem here is you're the hard case. They're giving you good advice, and you think you know everything. And that's the aspect of it that I think that a lot of hard cases don't take into account, is that what you think you know is wrong. And the advice that you're getting a lot of the time is what can really change your life. And it can change your life within a 6 to 12 months period if you take it seriously. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that didn't insult anybody. I hope I meant this to be as helpful as possible. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.